Hey, my fellow ink drinkers, welcome to Dark Violet Dreams, where I share my love of books, movies, and other deliciously dark delights. Hold on to your butts. Today we're talking about Jurassic Park. I'll be sharing my thoughts on the book versus the movie. An astonishing technique for recovering and cloning dinosaur DNA has been discovered. Now humankind's most thrilling fantasies have come true. Creatures extinct for eons roam Jurassic Park with their awesome presence and profound mystery, and all the world can visit them for a price. Until something goes wrong. Dun dun dun. In Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton taps all his mesmerizing talent and scientific brilliance to create his most electrifying techno-thriller. I chose to read Jurassic Park because of Old School April. It was a host recommendation, and I am super grateful for that because it's been sitting on my shelves for a while. Jurassic Park the movie was a favorite since childhood, so I read the book. It took me maybe like 3 weeks, and I loved it. It definitely goes into greater detail than the movie, and there are quite a few differences. Because I'm talking about the book versus the movie, there could be some light to full-on spoilers. So I will warn you ahead of time if there are some legit spoilers for those of you who have not either read the book or watched the movie. I will also be incorporating a few thoughts on The Lost World, which is part 2 in the Jurassic Park original movie series, because I'm connecting it to other things without spoiling it yet. So when I was younger, Jurassic Park came out, and it was an exciting and scary movie. I'm trying to think. I think it came out in 1993, which would have placed me at about 11 years old. And while I might have been slightly too old to be as terrified of that T-Rex as I was terrified. I remember taking a shower either that night or the morning after watching Jurassic Park for the first time and being really nervous that the T-Rex was going to bust through the wall and swallow me up. Don't know if it had to do with that toilet scene, but yes, it made a great impact on me. Now, I couldn't understand everything that was going on. I still don't understand all the scientific aspects to everything, but the gist of it really sat with me, and I enjoyed it a lot. Because I read the book, I decided to rewatch the movie, even though I had just watched it last year, I think. And I had a grand old time. And then later that day, I watched the second movie, which I thought I had never seen, but it turns out I had seen it. I just couldn't remember the first like 15 minutes or so. And possibly because we watched it on TV or recorded it and we didn't get the first 15 minutes, or maybe I just forgot because it was maybe boring to me at the time because the action hadn't picked up yet. I don't know. Anyway, I enjoyed both of them. So I gave the book 5 stars and I gave the movie 5 stars. Mostly because of nostalgia, but the book definitely deserved 5 stars in my humble opinion. So I'm really happy that I read it. I would read it again. There's a lot of scientific stuff in here, but it's not presented in a very overwhelming way for those of us who really don't understand any of that. He did a good job of minimizing the stressful aspect of listening to people talk about these big words and these complicated ideas and all of that. So I appreciated that. The characters were a lot like in the movie. I feel like Malcolm was the closest to his movie character, which obviously the movie came later, but I really enjoyed that I could read Malcolm and absolutely picture him. He sounded just like he did in the movie, and he was definitely my favorite character. John Hammond was also very similar, and I feel like I had slightly more compassion for the movie version of John, but it could have been the music that went along with his little spiels, and maybe the misty eyes when he was talking about things that broke his heart or that he was really passionate about. Now, some big differences I noticed. which shouldn't be complete spoilers, but light spoilers, possibly. The kids were kind of flip-flopped with certain things. Lex was super annoying in the book. I'm going to be honest. Super annoying. And she seemed younger than Tim. And I know that was flip-flopped. Now, she might have been older than Tim. I don't remember if I read the ages. But Tim was more of the level-headed, smart kid and kind of tried to keep her in line and keep her quiet and all that. So that felt a little bit different. And while Tim was still smart and into dinosaurs in the movie, Lex was the one that knew about computers, so that was a little bit different. And she was a lot less annoying in the movie. So I seriously had to stop reading certain scenes because I just could not take her. Like, seriously, shut up. That's what I kept saying throughout the book. Like, shh, you know, you gotta be quiet or you're gonna get eaten. Those are some of the bigger differences. Now, when I watched the when I read the book and thinking about the movie as well, there were a couple scenes in the book that I was kind of disappointed didn't make it into the movie. Now, here's where the big spoilers come in. So if you have not watched the second movie, The Lost World Jurassic Park, or read the book, you might want to skip this part. But I was disappointed that in the very beginning of the book, when they talk about the little girl that was getting bitten on the beach by a lizard, I was disappointed that wasn't in the movie because I felt like that was like a big deal. But at the same time, it kind of makes sense it wasn't in there because they did use it later in The Lost World. Is it The Lost World? In The Lost World. They changed a couple things about that scene and they made it fit the narrative to kind of move the movie series along. So it worked out. The other scene that I really wish would have been in the movie, I think it could have been really exciting, was when Dr. Grant and the kids were in the raft going down the river and they came upon the falls and he was trying to keep them from going over. He looks over the falls, very spoilery, okay, very spoilery. He looks over the falls and sees the T-Rex waiting for them to fall so that he could gobble them up. For whatever reason, I forgot about The Lost World and forgot that there was a scene where the dinosaur stuck his head behind a waterfall trying to get at the people, trying to find them. He couldn't see them because his eyes were not past the water, but he was like feeling around with his tongue and anyway, the scene in the book is way more detailed than what they included in the second movie. And I'm not sure why they put that scene in the second movie, but I have not read The Lost World. So I need to read the second book in the series because then maybe some of that stuff will line up and make more sense to me. But I really, really wish I could have seen that. Like, that would have been a very edge of your seat moment to see him, Dr. Grant, trying his darndest to keep that raft from going over the edge of the falls. And that whole scene of them trying not to get eaten, him finding a vehicle, and then everything else that happened after. I don't want to give everything away. That was one of the scenes that stuck out the most to me. Now here's where I want to hear from you. If you have read the book and watched the movie, I'd like to know which ending you preferred. My answer might surprise you, because I always choose the book, right? But no, I actually liked the ending of Jurassic Park, the movie, where the T-Rex has just fought with the velociraptors and the banner's falling down and he's roaring and then all that happens after. But that's like, to me, that's the epic ending, and then, you know, the epilogue comes after, I guess. I really did enjoy the ending in the book, more spoilers, but it just kind of fell a little bit flat for me compared to the ending in the movie. It was not as cinematic. So they really knew what they were doing when they changed things up a little bit there. But it was fascinating. It was interesting because they're following those velociraptors. There's a lot more focus on the velociraptors in the book than there was in the movie. Now, they were fierce and scary in the movie and obviously smart. Michael Crichton went into greater detail on kind of the inner workings of the velociraptors and their behaviors and things like that, which I found really fascinating. So I did appreciate the ending. I just feel like if you want the exciting ending, the movie has it. But I do want to know more, and it's probably answered in The Lost World, about the behaviors of the velociraptors, their desire to possibly migrate and leave the island, their bird-like behaviors. That was really fascinating to me. I know I keep saying fascinating. That was really interesting to me. So overall, 5 stars for the book, 5 stars for the movie, and I did rate The Lost World movie 4 stars. It wasn't like the best thing ever. I really enjoyed it, and it did take me a while to remember that I had seen it. I think what sparked my memory was when they were in like the RV once they were on the island, and just seeing it lit up and they were working on the baby T-Rex. Spoilers, sorry. That triggered my memory. I'd love to hear from you. Have you read Jurassic Park? Have you read and watched the movie? Do you have some comparisons you'd like to make? I'd love to hear what you liked better, if you preferred the book or if you preferred the movie. The movie is definitely more nostalgic for me, and the music and everything just really brought this story to life. Sometimes you just can't beat the inner dialogue and all the tiny little details that you can receive from a book. So overall, enjoyed them both. I'm glad I did this, and I'd love to hear from you. Which do you prefer, the book or the movie? And if you haven't read the book, I highly encourage you to pick it up. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you have an amazing day or night. Until next time, cheers.